Welcome back. We will be looking at some specifics related to designing and developing a management information system in a way that it works, in a way that it is useful to the organization. Firstly, what kind of factors should be considered when you're designing and trying to, in the initial stages of designing a management information system? So, obviously, it has to be consistent with the objectives of whoever is going to be the user and overall with the objective and the mission and the vision of the company. It is important that you need to define the areas of control within the organization because you can't let everyone have access. So you need to be very clear who exactly will have access. Basically, access controls need to be embedded within the system, passwords, any kind of security measures. It should be reliable, and you should maybe have a backup, maybe a real time backup, hot backup, hold backup, some kind of backup to make sure that if something goes wrong, you do have a fallback plan. And it should you should have the necessary infrastructure in place to make sure that you don't that anything that happens to the system or could happen to the system is that you're prepared for it. It should be user friendly, of course, as with any tech system. And generally, you should consider the costs of designing, developing, maintaining, and reviewing, updating, because mostly you will outsource this to a third party unless you have a dedicated and capable in-house IT staff. So there could be high costs involved. It's better to do a life cycle costing approach because you want to kind of see for the next 10 years, 20 years, what kind of costs is this whole exercise going to involve, and see whether it's justified or may take measures to justify that cost. And make sure that because if you're thinking in that angle, then you're already thinking about the way you're thinking is that how do I maximize the benefit, how do I try to maximize the benefit of this information system? I can't just install a software and then have it just do the basic things that we've already been doing. So unless it's going to give me more value and help me make more money, this can be a worthless exercise. So that's why you need to consider, like, when I personally, what I can say is, when I choose to work with in internet based partners that I use, payment gateways, web developers, marketing campaigns, social media campaign runners, I usually evaluate the cost and see how is that cost being justified with the revenue I'm making. And if it's and it's very common to always find in most cases, because I take my own time, because in most cases the costs are unjustified, at least at the revenue level that we currently perform. So we would either need to make sure that you communicate this idea, or you go for an option that has the scope that you need, so that it can slowly bring in value before you expand into other areas, add more options, so to speak. So this is why a lot of websites, in my experience, I'm telling you, a lot of websites that are selling different options, capabilities like SSL security for websites, they have like beginner, pro, advanced, commercial, e-commerce, etc. So beginner will be $2, $8, $15, $30. Even Zoom, something like that, they have different uh, plans because of this, because it's an information system end of the day, and you have to be able to justify the cost to what you're currently using. And if you cannot, it's really worthwhile. So that is another aspect. Now, in terms of assessing the quality of a management information system, there are four metrics that are critical for any MIS. It's that they should be functional, that it should do the job. It should be reliable, that you should be able to trust it. It should be usable. It should be, in essence, it should be user friendly, right? It's something that easily understandable, easily maneuverable, and it should have the good build quality, meaning that its user duration, its association to you as a user, it has to have that necessary standard that you can reliably say that this is something that I would even recommend to someone else, and that it is something that will stay up to date for a very long time, that you won't have to replace it with a completely different software altogether in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. Because we do know in the App Store or in the Google Play Store, we sometimes hear this app doesn't, when you try to update it, the app doesn't exist anymore, so it's been outdated, so the build quality is quite less. You don't see that with major softwares, right? That's the idea. Now, another aspect with respect to MISs is that in the exam, you might have to assess whether an MIS is lean. Now, lean is a very simple concept. What lean means, if you're considering a business or an organization or a process or a system as lean, it means that it has very minimal waste. So if you want to make a system lean, it means that you're trying to eliminate waste from that system. That's what you're trying to do. So a lean MIS is essentially something that aims to a system that aims to get the right thing to the right place at the right time, first time. A lean MIS is essentially a system that you build so that it can get the right information to the right person at the right time and in the first time itself, that you don't have to go back and forth. This is lean. As you can see, it's a very high standard to achieve. Obviously, it's coming from the Japanese themselves. Um, so the MIS essentially it's something that it produces things that adds value. It produces report only for those who need them. It should produce information that are accurate and should be presented clearly and should be retrieved easily, that it should be easy to find. There's real time processing, so there's basically like no time lag. What you're seeing is the most real time data. Eliminate waste, so at every point you try to eliminate waste, like data duplication. You don't see the same file. Data duplication is a huge issue, because a lot of us and a lot of companies have the same data set everywhere, and there are little inconsistencies across the same data set which are in different locations. So if somebody uses one data set here and the other person thinks this is the same thing there also and they uses it, there can be inconsistencies in results and coordination and challenges. I mean, I've come across situations where these inconsistencies have led to us trying to search for where the inconsistency is coming from, and it's endless because of data duplication, purely because of data duplication. It should be flexible and it should have that nature of continuous improvement, right? In the build itself, in the design itself. See, this is how the best example I can give you is major applications in your phone. This is why every time, every 2 weeks, they'll say there's a new update, and they keep updating the software, updating the app, and they'll say bug fixes and improvements. So that is continuous improvement. It's every time, all the time, getting continuously improved. The other aspect that you can embed within the build quality and the design and how an MIS is being designed for you is the 5S concept. Essentially, it's structurized, systemized, sanitized, standardized, and self-discipline. So, of course, this is used in our physical space. We do talk about it in manufacturing aspects in chapter number 12 under quality. But here, what we are saying is that even in a technology based information system, 5S is very good to be integrated. If you the 5S according to the 5S principle, the system should be structurized. There has to be a proper flow of information, proper flow of movement. It should be systemized, that there is a single way, a consistent way of doing things. Sanitize, it should have very limited waste or no waste at all. Obsolete data, duplicate data, unnecessary data, non-value adding data should not even be visible. Standardize, that ultimately it should be the way that the software is set. I think when you look at something like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, these are highly standardized softwares because you do have a certain way. So even if they update the software from 2013 to 2016 to 2019 to maybe the 2023 version, it doesn't matter because it's standardized, so well standardized that we know, even if we download the new software, we know exactly what to do, where to go, where to find what we need to find if we are generally familiar with the software. And it has to have self discipline in a way that because the users are motivated by the use of that software. I mean, sometimes we use mobile apps and softwares and we say it's great because we like it. And that is what the MIS should do. It should be designed in a way that all the 4Ss before this are embedded so that the people who are using it are motivated to use it and utilize it to best or maximum effect. So that is what we looked at now in terms of the importance of the quality of a MIS. We're going to talk about integrating MISs briefly in the next segment. Good luck and thank you.